difference between the mayor making that argument and Mr. DiNapoli making the same statement?
I think, I don't think you would look at anything with a blanket statement. Talk about continuity of leadership and leadership that has shown that it is willing to rise to the challenge. I think the voters of New York, both in the past and in the future, have to evaluate each position and each job individually. There is no blanket, let's keep everybody. I don't think there is no blanket when you look at the state this time, whether it is in legislative races or statewide races. There is no blanket, let's keep everybody. It's let's look at the job that's being done by each individual and determine whether they should be returned to office. In this case, looked at the job that Tom DiNapoli has done and believed that he's the best person to come back as the state controller. Looked at the position of mayor, and I didn't believe that the person who was there should have been the person to come back.
This is your first time back at City Hall since the election, is that right?
I think this may be the first time back on the steps.
Remember,
right? After that was November. Got a little cold after that, so but this is probably my first time back.
How does it feel to be back here?
On a day like this, feels great. So I don't think it'll be the last time I'll be back in City Hall.
To follow up on David's question, there seems to be a mood among the electorate of bouncing incumbents. Do you have a sense that the candidates will be on the ballot in November are going to have a bigger challenge than most candidates have in most election cycles?
There's clearly a move in New York State, across the country also, where people would like to see change, where people are angry at incumbents. I think it's important, though, that the public not, just view anything in a blanket way and just kind of look on a case-by-case, office-by-office basis. I think that's important. And you'll wind up, you'll throw everybody out who's there and wind up possibly with worse. I think you have to evaluate the idea and what the electorate needs to do in any election is to evaluate the jobs that each individual does, make decisions whether you vote for them or you vote for someone else who better represents the direction you'd like to go in. I think that's what the public needs to do this year. So I don't think there's a blanket, where there shouldn't be a blanket, let's throw everybody out. It needs to be done on a case-by-case, each individual, looking at the job that is being done and making determinations on it.
Would you be surprised that there hasn't been more, I guess it's still early, but that the state Republicans in particular don't have more of a big crew of challengers who can really pose a big threat, big names?
Let me say something first. I think that the Republican Party, both on the federal level and the state level, has become the party of no. The party of, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to say no, and the public will come back our way. I don't think the public, in the end, the public may look at that in the short term and say, wow, yeah, we should say no to some things that are going on. But then again, and in the long term, the public wants government that works for them, that works for the people, that doesn't stand by and just say no and have that mistaken as, as active work, as work on their better behalf. I think that the public wants to see elected officials and government that are working for them. So I think part of the problem is, for the Republican Party, they've become the party of no, the party of inactivity, the party of inaction, the party that doesn't move forward. So I think that that's why you're not seeing more candidates, because how many people do you need who are just going to say no and not come forward with real creative ideas?
And that being said, they will have a slate. There will be a choice. We've been in different parts of different times in our careers with the political history where times the Democrats were counted out, other times the Republicans were counted out. But the great thing about being a New Yorker is that we have a very discerning constituency. The citizens pay close attention, and they're going to scrutinize all the candidates very, very closely. There will be a choice of at least two candidates, I'm sure, for this race. Maybe there'll be some people running on minor party lines as well. For me, it's my first election running statewide, so I'm looking forward to the chance to in an electoral context, meet voters. I've been meeting citizens for the past 3.5 years as control. It's different when you're out there campaigning, right? Bill knows that well. So it's my first election, but I feel I have done the job. And let's keep in mind, I'm in this position because there was a real problem, and there was no alternative. We weren't going to leave the control's office vacant for 4 years after my predecessor resigned. Someone had to fill that responsibility. It was too important to the people of New York. My own recommendation, Bill may remember the time, was we needed to change our rules, provide opportunities for special elections so you don't have somebody in for 4 years without election, but you have to operate with the rules of the Constitution that we have right now. I've done the job to restore credibility to this office, and now I'm looking forward to being elected in my own right and being part of a very positive team. Democrats are going to put together a strong team, I think a united team, and I think our message is going to be one of what we need to do to move the state forward.
You're speaking of Republicans or would-be Republicans, what's your take on the Steve Levy situation?
Well, I guess we'll see what will happen tomorrow. I gather there'll be an announcement. I've worked with Steve. We're fellow Long Islanders. We served together in the Assembly, but I'll be supporting the Democratic nominee for governor. And as I said, I'm looking forward to our Democratic team being a strong one, being a united one, and one that's going to respond to the needs of people in 2020.
Have you talked to him, or are you disappointed, or has he reached? I mean, what's your? You've known him for a number of years, obviously.
As many people know, I grew up in a good Republican household and never regretted my choice to enroll as a Democrat at age 18. I think it's the party to stick with, and if he asked my counsel, I would say stay as a Democrat. But obviously, it's a personal choice on his part, and we'll leave that choice to him.
Comptroller, will you be supporting Bill Thompson for mayor?
Well, I was proud to support Bill Thompson not that long ago, and I was very delighted when Bill indicated that he expects to be back in public service at some point in running. So he was an outstanding standard bearer for the Democratic Party. He obviously had tremendous support all across the city, and I'll leave it to Bill in terms of his timetable on what he's going to run for what and on what time frame. But there's nobody more qualified for high office, high executive office in our city or in our state than Bill Thompson, and certainly nobody I have a greater confidence in. And it will definitely be to everyone's benefit when Bill is back on a ballot getting elected to a public office.
Thank you all.
Thank you.